this video, I just want to highlight how to use the calculator. So if you get stuck, what calculator resources you have, okay? So when you have y equals 5x minus 7 and it asks for x and y intercept, or it gives you a table, remember that you're going to graph. Now, since, let's go to graph. So control doc and go to 2. Now, since it has y, you're just going to type in 5x minus 7. You don't have to delete 6 or anything, and then you hit enter. To do the x and y intercept, then you're going to do menu 5-1. So, menu 5-1, if you hit the down arrow button, that's the y intercept. So my y intercept is negative 7, and if you arrow over to the 0, that is another name for the x-intercept is 0, and that's 1.4. Now to get the table, you do Control T. So Control T, and if I want to look at those values, so if you just want to arrow up until you get to negative 3 is negative 22. You can do the table, you can do it that way, or you can get out of the table on your menu 5-1, you can just type in negative 2.5. So just type that in and it goes with negative 19.5. So either way that you want to do it is fine. Some of you prefer the table, but on decimals you definitely need to do the menu 5-1. Okay? So you just type it in and it tells you exactly what it is. So that's if you have the x value. Now, if you have the y value, you're going to have to use the table to see what goes with the x. But if you have the x value, you can always just plug it in. Okay? So the x is what you plug in. You always plug in your x to get the y. All right? So let's look at number 2. Now in 2, what's different about this one is still graphing, but notice you have 2x minus 3y. If x and y are both on that side, then you are going to have to delete 6. Okay, so let's go to another one, Control Doc, go to 2. I have to delete 6, and now I type in the whole thing. So 2x minus 3y equals 9. Okay, and then hit enter. Now you can do the same thing. So menu 5-1, and you've got your negative 3, so that's my y value, is negative 3. And then if you arrow over, you can see what your x value is. And remember, another name for that is the 0. That's the x-intercept, and it was 4.5. Now this time, instead of going to table, I'm just going to type in my values. So negative 3 goes with negative 5, and negative 2.1 goes with negative 4.4, negative 1.5 goes with negative 4, 0 goes with, enter, goes with negative 3, and 0.6 goes with negative 2 and 6/10, and then 1 and 5/10 goes with negative 2, and 3 and 75/100, 3.75 goes with negative 0.5, or negative 5/10, negative half. Now, you want to find the slope. And remember, anytime they ask you to find the slope, you're going to have to use a t-chart. Now, you can use any two numbers you want to. It does not matter. I'm just going to use 0, negative 3, and negative 3, negative 5. Now, it does not matter which one you use, but I'm just going to use those because it would be easier. So negative 3, negative 5, and then 0, negative 3. Remember that you are going to subtract. So 0 minus negative 3, which is positive 3, and then negative 3 minus negative 5, which is a positive 2, and then you swing and put the 3 under. So it's a positive 2/3. Now, if it is a multiple choice, you can leave 4/3. If it isn't, then you need to change it to a decimal. Okay? All right. So the next one is problem number 3. Now, number 3, if you have, again, x or y intercept, and if x and y are on the same side, you're going to have to delete 6. All right? So let's go to a new one, Control Doc 2, and delete 6. And you want to type in that whole thing. So 2x minus y equals 4. 2x minus y equals 4. And put that in, and then you're going to do your menu 5-1. Okay, so that's how I'm going to fill this in. So 0 goes with negative 4, that is my y-intercept. So my y-intercept is negative 4. And then I can go up to the 0, which is 2. Okay, so this is 2. And then to find those values, negative 1 and 1, I can type in negative 1. Negative 1 goes with negative 6. And then I can type in positive 1. And positive 1 goes with negative 2. So you're just going to have to maximize and use your menu 5-1. Now on number 4, it says, what is the equation in the slope-intercept form that passes through? Now you've got, if it passes through these points, negative 6 and 2, what you can do, you can find the slope, absolutely. So if you want to find the slope and with your t-chart, and remember that the slope always goes in front of the x, you can certainly do that. Some of you may want to graph and then do menu 5-1. Now if you graph and you do menu 5-1, you're going to type in negative 6 and it should go with 38. And then you're going to type in 2 and it should go with negative 6. It has to go through both of them. Now on this one, I will actually do the slope. So negative 6, 38. And then you've got 2, negative 6. So 2 minus negative 6 is positive 8. And then negative 6 minus 38 is negative 44. And so I would have negative 44 over 8. Now, some of you forget to put that in your calculator. So on a control dot page, my calculator, negative 44 divided by 8, put that in your calculator. It reduces to negative 11 over 2. So negative 11 over 2 has to be in front of the x. So look at your x's, and some of you forget that the ones in front of the x, that's what you're looking for, is the number in front of x. And I want this one, negative 11 over 2. That does not match. That one does. That does not match. That one matches. Okay, now you can graph. Now some of you would have preferred graphing from the very beginning, and some of you like to eliminate. Either one is fine. So you've got a negative 11 over 2, and you can make your fraction. Make sure you arrow over x. Now since I can see this one, I'm going to do the plus 5. So plus 5. And that one, now I'm going to do menu 5-1. And I'm going to type in negative 6. So type in negative 6. So negative 6. And it goes with 38. Now I'm going to type in 2. And it goes with negative 6. So both of these matched. And the equation I plugged in case you forget, you can always go up to tab and up arrow. It is the plus 5. So it was this one. So my answer is D. All right, so the next one that we have, number 5, which function represents the same relationship? So again, if you want to do your slope and pick 2 points, you absolutely can. So like you could do negative 4, 10, and I could do 10, negative 11. It doesn't matter. You could find your slope and you could eliminate. And some of you prefer doing that. So 10 minus negative 4 is 14. Negative 11 minus 10 is negative 21, so you divide. So negative 21 over 14. And if I put that in my calculator, negative 21 divided by 14. Oops. So if that answer just comes up like that, just go back and delete that. It just means you put that subtraction in. Enter. It's negative 3 over 2. So this reduces to negative 3 over 2, which it should be in front of the x. This one has it. This is a positive. Now, I think this one is it. So what I'm going to do is I can graph, and I can do menu 5-1 to double check. So graph and menu 3-1. And remember, you plug in the top number. Okay? I want to plug in the top number and see if it matches the one underneath. So we're going to do that. So on my graph, we've got negative 3 over 2x plus 4. Enter enter. Now I'm going to do the menu 5, 1. Now my first number was negative 4, and it goes with 10. My negative number was negative 1.5, and that goes with 6.25. Then it was 3, and that goes with negative 0.5. So that is definitely my answer. Some of you may just want to graph. That's fine. That is totally fine. Okay, on the next one, which of the equations has a standard line that passes through the 0.5, negative 2, and has a slope of 1/3? Well, the slope is easy if it's y equals mx plus b, but these do not have that by itself. So you can eliminate by checking this right here to see if it goes through 5. So we're going to graph these, and since all of these have x and y on the same side, I have to do delete 6. Okay, so we're going to graph those. Control dot, go to 2, and I have to do delete 6. So you've got x minus 3y equals negative 11. Okay, now if I do menu 5, 1, and I type in that 5, that does not match. So this one is gone. Okay, so do it again. Control dot, go to 2, I'm going to add another one, and I have to delete 6, and I'm going to type in b. So x minus 3y equals 11. Hit enter. Okay, so menu 5, 1, and if I type in the number 5, I get negative 2. So I know that this one works right here. Okay, now if I type in the other ones, control dot 2, okay, delete 6, you got x minus 3y equals negative 5, enter, and then if I do menu 5, 1, and if I plug in 5, that one does not match. So this is gone, and so I can do one more D. Okay, delete 6, you got x minus 3y equals 1. And then do menu 5, 1, and I'm going to type in the number 5 again. And that does not match. So there was only one that worked, so in that case you're okay. The other way to do it is to solve for y. But I'm just saying in case you get stuck. And number 7, some of you get confused when you look at graphs. Guys, you just need to graph this. Actually graph it. Since x and y are on the same side, delete 6. Now, when I delete 6, I want to look for the one that looks exactly like it. So I'm going to graph it. So go to 2, delete 6, and I have to type in that whole thing. So negative 4x plus 3y equals 12. Now, look at where it touches. It touches at negative 3. So this does not touch at negative 3. That does not touch at negative 3. This one touches at negative 3. And then look at where it touches on the y. The y value, it touches at 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, if you need to, you can do the menu 5, 1 to see that that's at a 4. And then you can see that this one is at a negative 3. So you don't have to guess. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that one is a match. This one is your answer. You don't want to miss one like that. Okay, and then this one, the next one, you have the 0. So remember, the 0 is where it touches the x. So you're going to graph. You're going to graph 4/5 x minus 6. Now, since it says g of x, I do not need to delete 6. So control dot, go to 2. I can leave it just like that. And so control divide 4 over 5 x, and then minus 6. Enter. Now just do your menu 5, 1. And that's the y. I do not want the y, so I go over to the x. Okay, so that's 7.5. So my answer is C. You don't want to miss one like that. Okay, now I'm going to go over the rest of them in just a second.